got to figure it out again. We might not win a game this year. It could happen.
Winter has come to Utah's Wasatch Range as Rice-Eccles Stadium on the campus of the University of Utah looks more like it did for the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2002 Winter Olympics. But we're playing football today, and we're going to crown a national champion as Snow takes on Butler Community College. It's number 1 Snow against number 2 Butler, and they're both 11-0, and something has to give this afternoon. Hi, everybody. Steve Brown along with Alema Harrington. And Alema, let's first talk about the obvious, and that is the impact of the weather.
Well, they've been down there for the last 3 hours trying to get this field ready, and it remains to be seen whether they'll be able to keep the snow off the field. The obvious answer, probably not.
All right, well, these two teams are no strangers to one another. They met in 2005 in this game. It wasn't for the national title, but it was won by Snow by a score of 17-14. So, for our Mountain West viewers, let's first of all say, who is Butler? And let's talk about the Butler Grizzlies.
4-time national champions, won one back in 1998, most recently in 2003. Ranked number 2, obviously, coming into it. They're undefeated. They've got a great running game. Bo Johnson, he is a fantastic runner, and they will get on the ground and try to get things going early.
And on a field like this, you may need a guy like that at 5'11 and about 225 who just runs between the tackles. So Bo Johnson expected to carry the load as he has out of that I formation for the Butler Grizzlies. Now, for our Kansas viewers, who is Snow College? Who are the Badgers out of Ephraim, Utah? This is a storied program in the Mountain West. They're playing for their second national championship.
Absolutely. They are coming in here playing for their second national title. The last one was back in 1985. If those are familiar with the head coach down at BYU, well, Bronco Mendenhall was the starting quarterback on that team. They are a scoring machine. They can put up some points, and they've got a running game as well. Sonny Satele is going to be the guy carrying the load for the Snow College Badgers.
Now the question is, can they get a passing attack? Because they are the number 1 ranked offense in the country. They're also, or the number 2 ranked defense as well. But it seems to me that on this field today, you throw out all the numbers, all the statistics, except that they're both 11-0, and at the end of the game, somebody is going to be a national champion. We'll be back with the lineups and the opening kick from Rice-Eccles Stadium. It's Snow against Butler, number 1 against number 2. Salt Lake City on a snowy Saturday. Welcome back to Rice-Eccles Stadium. It's now time for the Top of the Mountains Bowl, brought to you in part by Zions Bank. The products you need, the service you deserve, and it will be a snowy field. And if you don't see any down markers there, don't be surprised. There aren't any. We'll be guessing all afternoon, and so will the players and coaches, so join us in the fun. Let's take a look at the Larry H. Miller keys to this game. After all, you know this guy. The keys for Butler, Alema Harrington. First of all, I think it's tailor-made for them. They've got a ground game, and they're going to have to stay to it today.
Absolutely. They're going to have to grind it out with Bo Johnson. The guy's a 1,500-yard rusher, 16 TDs on the year. And also Randall Bell is a very good runner as well for the Butler Badgers. They got to make Snow one-dimensional. They can't let them get into that passing game, and they got to hang on to the football. In weather like this, you got to take care of the pigskin.
And on the other side of the ledger, stopping Bo Johnson is obviously the big challenge, and especially a slippery footing down on that field today.
Absolutely. The defensive line and the linebackers, certainly for Snow College, have their work cut out for them, going up against one of the best runners in the junior college ranks. They got to win on special teams because that's the other third of the game, and they just obviously they've got to take care of the ball as well. And they got to let Satele run. Satele has got to get out there and be able to just take control of this game as far as the ground attack is concerned for the Snow Badgers.
Well, you looked at Snow a moment ago, and now you look at the visitors from Butler. And if there's any advantage, you would think it would be to Snow College because it's their home field, or at least they're the home team today, and they've got some folks that came from Utah. But I'll tell you what, those are diehard fans. The other thing, of course, is the weather. Snow, appropriately named as far as Snow College is concerned today. And this is the Top of the Mountains Bowl. It looks like you're on top of a mountain.
We are playing at the top of the mountain right now. Interesting, I was down on the field talking to the coaches before this game. And, of course, you were talking about Ephraim. They experience weather like this all the time. And so they've played in this before, obviously. And they have the same field that they have here at Rice-Eccles Stadium up in Ephraim on their surface. So they've played on field turf in the snowy conditions before. Talked to the Butler coaches about the conditions and say, you know, we don't often play in the snow. We've got a natural grass field. We've played 3 or 4 times on on field turf against teams that we have in our conference, but this is going to be a little bit different for us.
Well, they're going to experience it. By the way, our refereeing crew, our officiating crew, got Kelly Myers, our ref. Kevin De Ornelas is the umpire. The linesman is Steve Adams. Line judge, Weedy Harris. Side judge, Vince Williams. Field judge is Tom Eckert. And the back judge is John Baden Jr. Congratulations to that crew officiating this national championship game today. That's a look at the visitors from Butler. White trimmed in gold and navy blue. And then there's the navy blue and yellow of the Snow College Badgers. Again, these two teams met in 2005. Snow won it by a 17-14 count. It was not for a national championship. Today, it's for all the marbles with a pair of unbeatens at 11-0 each.
Regan Bach, a great return man. His father, legendary coach over in Meridian in Boise, Idaho.
And he'll be dropping back deep to receive. You've got Butler in white, and they'll be kicking. Moving from right to left across your television screen will be the Snow College Badgers. Time now to get underway. Opening kick proudly sponsored by Go Yin. It's go time, and we are underway, and it's a short kick to get things started. And the ball is live and then goes out of bounds. And so it will be the Badgers football. But a little trickery perhaps, or maybe it's just simply a result of the conditions. But the opening kick was a squibber that goes out of bounds. And I wish I could tell you the yard line. I've got an idea. It's about the 32-33 based on a half-plowed 20-yard line.
And I don't know if it was by design or not, but an alert play by the Snow College Badgers. Just get that ball out of bounds. Knock it out of bounds. Yeah, but that's a live ball right there. Could have been an onside kick. Ends up being Snow College ball. And I think you mentioned the 32. We'll go with that, 32.
Close enough as you look at Regan Buck for Snow College. And we'll see what happens with the Badgers on offense. Can they get things going with that passing attack in conditions like this? That field has been plowed, by the way, about 5 times this morning as Eastman throws on first down, and he's under pressure. He's knocked down, and the ball bounces on a little one-hopper as we take a look at the offensive starters now for the Snow College Badgers, coming in ranked number 1 in the nation, and they're trying to preserve an unbeaten season. There's the up front group.
Look at the guys up front, a very solid offensive line anchored by Mark Pratt at the center position.
And that backfield, of course, Eastman is the quarterback. Sotelli, number 24, is the guy you'll want to keep your eyes on.
And Tui Tupou is also a great tight end, and they will use him in this offense.
Now from under center on second down. Eastman again, and they'll go right to the ground game. Running the football on second down, and the ball carrier is Takai. Niu Takai. And we'll see where they spot this football as far as distance is concerned. Looked like he picked up about maybe 6 or 7 on the play before he was wrapped up.
We've talked plenty about Sonny Sotelli, but Neo Takai is also very close to a 100-yard rusher or 1,000-yard rusher, I should say. 900-plus yards on the season, and he's also scored 8 touchdowns, so they will use him quite a bit as well.
Well, they picked up about 8 on the play, so it's third down, and we'll call it 2. The Badgers trying to get things going here. They've run the football. They tried to throw it in this snow. We'll see how effective they are. Second-ranked offense in the nation as we've got somebody from Butler into the backfield before the snap of the ball. And it looked like the offensive line jumped, and I think the Badgers are going to be backed up. Very difficult conditions down there for everybody, including that officiating crew. You get a look at the referee, Kelly Myers. And that's the sideline for Butler Community College.
You know, you get out there, to start this game. You're on the offensive line, and you're sitting there waiting. You get a little cold. You want to get moving. Yeah, the guys jumped a little bit too early.
Tell you one thing, Butler's got the advantage. They blend into the turf with those white jerseys. Little stealth defense. Now it's third down and 7. And Eastman wants to go to the air. He throws a lob out to the outside that's overthrown, intended for Kimball Burton, the wide receiver, and so 3 and out. Now for the Snow College Badgers, that defense of the Grizzlies did their job.
Absolutely, that's what they want to do. Get them 3 and out, get the chance on offense to get your guy out there, Bo Johnson. You want to see how Bo can effectively run on this field out here.
Question of the day, does Bo know snow, right?
Yeah, that is going to be the question, and the answer will be coming shortly.
Jeff Wright will drop back to kick. And Wright standing there, got to get that kick away. Oh, it just gets about 8 feet off the ground at about 15 yards, and that's it. It goes out of bounds. So both teams obviously struggling with the conditions, and we'll see what happens on the offensive set now for the Butler Grizzlies. But that ball off Jeff Wright's foot traveled about 20 yards, maybe 18 yards at the most from where he was standing, and never got above 7 feet off the ground.
And we talked in the Larry H. Miller Keys to the Game about special teams and how important they are. The kicking game is affected dramatically by conditions like this. You think, well, it's only when the ball is put on the ground and you got to try to attempt a field goal, an extra point. But that's not the case. I mean, it is every aspect of special teams will be affected by the weather today.
Mike Garrison is the quarterback for Butler Community College. They've gone with a 2-quarterback situation much of the year. The numbers aren't that impressive. 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, but his team is unbeaten. And on first down, they'll give it to Bo Johnson, who tries the left side, and that defense of the Badgers closing it down. Stop made by Josh Sharp. So Johnson doesn't get much as we look at the rest of that offense now for the Butler Grizzlies.
Very big offensive line for the Grizzlies, anchored by Eric Dahl at the center position. They might have a couple of pounds advantage as far as the line is concerned. And we already talked about Bo Johnson. He is the guy that they will depend on today to get yards for him.
No gain on the play, maybe a yard. Call it 2nd and 9. And from the eye again, Johnson, the lone back into the air on 2nd down. And the pass is complete to the outside. That's Tyrese Gaines, and he catches the football and takes it inside the 20-yard line. Now, the Snow College sideline said he was juggling the football, officiating crew talking about things, but here's the throw, just a lob. And does he have contact? Yes, and he has control of that football as he's knocked out of bounds. So a first down, our first down of the game. And there's a look at Tyrese Gaines. And again, we're guessing on the yardage, so you'll forgive us if we're off, but I'm looking at about the 17-yard line, maybe.
They did their best to try to plow the 20-yard line. You can see a small mark, at least from our vantage point, of where the 20-yard line is, so I think you're about right at the 17.
Well, we'll find out. We'll know if they get the end zone anyway. Thad Carson is the up back now in that I-formation backfield. And Mike Garrison is the quarterback.
Make the call!
And they'll wind the clock and we'll be ready to go at the snap. Showing blitz, the Badgers. And they do bring pressure. And running right through it was Bo Johnson, and then he's decleated at about the 15-yard line.
That was a nice job by the Butler offense to just get past those blitzing linebackers, get into the secondary very quickly.
Josh Anderson making the stop, part of that that Snow College defense. Let's take a look at that defense. They'll be tested today on both sides of the ball.
Take a look at the defensive line. Colby Clausen is one of the best in the junior college ranks. He is a guy already committed to the University of Utah, BYU. Tavita Hola, same thing. He's a BYU guy. Here's a look at your linebackers. Some very solid backing linebackers in this group. Josh Anderson, Josh Sharp, along with Shane Hunter.
And there's a Badger that's being attended to, just collapsed beyond the line of scrimmage. It's Andrew Rich. And I'm not sure what the situation there. He's being helped off the field. I saw him come out of that defensive huddle and then just go down. And then he got attention from the medical staff, and he's being walked off the field. The 6'3" freshman, Andrew Rich, out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. Out of Ogden, Utah, rather. And he's coming off right now. So Andrew Rich's situation delays the start of the football game again. You know, I look at this out here today, and footing obviously a major concern. Alema Harrington, what spikes do you go with? What cleats do you go with on a day like today?
Well, you wear your the longest cleats that you can get, obviously, but you try to get the guys that have screw-in cleats. Hopefully, their equipment managers have that taken care of.
3 men in the backfield. Ham was in motion, but they give to Johnson. Look at him, just power. Absolute power from Bo Johnson, and that's what he's done all season long. He's a 1,500-yard plus back this season, had over 1,100 last year. This is a guy that you just put it in his arms and say, stay between the tackles and don't give up the football.
I talked to Troy Morrell before this game, asked him what makes this guy so good. And you see, he doesn't have the greatest speed. He's got about a 4.5 40, which is decent in this business. But I'll tell you what, he's tough to tackle. And he's elusive at the same time, got enough quickness, but one guy's not going to bring him down. We saw that on that last play.
First and goal at about the 4-yard line. And to give again, up the middle, and touchdown. Well, Butler made that one look easy. They threw the one long pass play, and then they just handed the ball to number 2, and Bo Johnson comes through with the touchdown. And I would imagine you're going to get a steady diet of him today if you're Snow College, so you better figure a way, if you're Coach Steve Coburn, to stop that.
Absolutely, because that's what they wanted to try to establish and figure out on that first offensive drive when we're talking about the Butler Community College. They wanted to see, all right, what are the weather conditions? How are they going to affect Bo? And obviously, it did not. And Bo got out. They got great field position on that first long pass, and after that, it was a steady diet of Bo Johnson.
By the way, the deep snapper is the quarterback for Butler, Mike Garrison. And one of the coaches said, we don't publicize that because guys have tried to take him out during the season on those snaps. There's the deep snap. There's that kick. It is up. It's a soggy, wet football, but it still goes through the uprights. And it is a 7-0 lead after Grady Fowler adds that PAT. But it was all Bo Johnson after the one long completion to Tyrese Gaines. But that picture just about says it all. Welcome back to the Zions Bank Top of the Mountains Bowl here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Butler, in their first offensive series, has just marched down the field and put it in the end zone on a 2-yard Bo Johnson run, and they lead 7-0. And there's a look at the kicker, Grady Fowler, who just had the conversion on the PAT, and there's Regan Buck standing back to receive this kick. It hasn't gone far enough yet on the opening kick to get to Buck, and I'm not sure that it will here.
They've made some adjustments there. You see Regan Buck now, he's on about his own 20-yard line as opposed to being down at the goal line, which is a smart move as far as the adjustment.
Kimball Burton is back there with him. But the first kick went out of bounds at about the, 35-yard line. And we'll see if they can get a kick to stay in bounds or even get it to come off the tee cleanly. Well, it's going to be chip shotted into the air, and it's picked up by one of the upbacks and brought down after a couple of yards. Sam Thomas was the man who picked up the football. So, again, decent field position, if you can call any position decent on this field today.
That's the question right now. Field position, you'd like to have it from the 20-yard line in or something like that. That would be decent field position right now. What Snow has to do, and to take a look at what they're trying to do with the field right now. Now they're on the other side on the north end zone trying to clear that goal line to make sure they at least know when somebody goes into the end zone.
Conditions obviously very challenging today, not only for players and officials, but also our broadcast crew. So kudos to the camera guys out there today and gals who are earning their money and then some. Second offensive possession now for the Snow College Badgers. They'll hand the ball off and into that line. J.D. Douglas was the man who made the stop for that defense. And let's take a look at the defensive starters now for the Butler Community College Grizzlies.
Well, certainly the guy to watch for is number 11, Marcus White. This guy's about as good as they get. He's got 25 sacks so far this season. A great pass rusher. And then you take a look at their linebacking crew. Schneider right there in the middle. They go with that 4-3 look. And Shankis Powell, Maurice Gray, J.D. Douglas, and Kyle Woodall. Those are your secondary players.
And Takai is the running back again. We talked about Sotele, but Takai is the runner who's had the yeoman's share of the work so far. It is early, obviously, in this game. And the fake to the air. And a completed pass by the Badgers on the completion. You looked at that receiving core going out, and Joseph Sawyer was the man who hauled it in for a Snow College first down. So John Eastman has his first completion of the afternoon. You saw the fake, and then creating just enough separation was Joseph Sawyer to pull in the pass.
Last year, the Snow College Badgers in their game against Coffeyville in the Zions Bank Top of the Mountains Bowl used the tight end was Frischnett last year, who's now at Utah State, who had a very good game for Snow College, and they will go to both Sawyer and Tui Tupo and use that tight end quite a bit.
Well, I was a little premature perhaps because they're calling for a measurement to see if he actually got the first down. The crowd thought that he had. Of course, it's primarily Snow College crowd, although there have been some folks who've made it from Kansas to this football game. By the way, we want to welcome our viewers. Apparently we're on Cox, and it's Kansas 22 all over the state of Kansas. So we welcome all of you. I'm sure you've seen weather like this, though. We know that Kansas gets its share
in the
of
plains,
winter weather,
certainly.
absolutely.
And I'll tell you what, our Kansas viewers very, very accustomed to seeing their team in the national championship game. They've been in it 6 times. They've won it 4 times. And under Troy Morrell, this team is close to unstoppable. He's 85-10. That's his record in the last 8 years with Butler College.
That's not bad. That's not bad. And on the other side of the ledger, Steve Colbert, highly successful at Snow College as well. It was a first down, so the chains will move. And now keeping it on the ground again, and it continues to go to New Takai. And Takai goes the right side of that offensive line, coached by former NFL player John Hunter.
John Hunter, a guy that's teammate of mine back at BYU in the mid to late 80s.
And he's going to have his work cut out for him as those linemen, as they try to pull today. Look at Takai, who actually, if he could have slid a little left in the hole, but that, had he tried to stop, that's probably what he would have done, slid left in the hole.
You know, I was down on the field before the game, and I was taking a look at Sotele. He actually had his right Achilles taped up a little bit, and that might be the reason why we haven't seen him out there yet.
Well, if you got an Achilles problem on a field like this, you've really got major issues. Again, the give, and still moving was Takai. Takai looked like he was stopped for no gain or even a loss, and perhaps has come up with a 1-yard gain on the play. Yards hard to come by this afternoon as Maurice Gray of Butler wraps him up and brings him down to that snowy turf.
You see Takai go up into the line and it bounces off. Hey, give him credit for staying on his feet, but he just couldn't keep it going. I'll tell you what, you know, being down in that field, the snow that is down there is so wet that it packs into the cleats on the bottom of your shoe. And so if you're walking around, all of a sudden you got to clean off your shoes, like, you know, tap them clean every couple of minutes. You look at Takai, great change of direction, but he never really got his footing going. And watch him slip out right there. He can't get any kind of traction on that field.
And that defense closing down on him. So maybe a 1-yard pickup on the play. And I'll tell you one thing. Well, I'm not sure we could hear what the official said, but looked to be a flag on the play, and it was against the Butler Community College. 5-yard variety. The scoreboard, by the way, is not even making an attempt to put the ball on. Okay, they've got the down and distance, and we can pretty well pick that up from up here with a guess on the box. But as far as the yard line, not a chance. But it is 3rd and about 3. Takai, again, the ball carrier, knocked down at the point of impact, and it will be a punting situation, or at least a 4th down, as Wayne Bonner was the man who got him. Wayne Bonner knocking him to the deck.
Also there's Swanson Miller, and this guy, how about the 6'5", 320 pounds, and he just plugs up the middle, and that's a guy that he will get after you.
And I beg your pardon, because of the penalty, it's still 3rd down, so they still have an opportunity to make the first down. 3rd, and again, about 3 to go. Snow College with 2 wide receivers to the near side, a single wide out to the top of your screen, and Takai again is the lone setback. And now a motion man who'll set in the slot. And to the air for Snow College. Well, it's going to be picked, thrown right into coverage, and the first interception of the day. And the defensive back says, I'm standing, now I'm falling, now the ball's on the ground. And did Snow College get it back? I didn't hear a whistle.
They'll say his knee was down because he slid down, I believe. His knee came to the ground. The ball would have been dead there.
Well, it looked like he was still standing. Shawnquez Powell was the man who intercepted it. And the question is, where is this football going to wind up? In whose possession?
You take a look at this real quickly, and you see if his knee comes down after the interception. He'll try to make a quick run back here, but it looks like he's trying to stop and make a move. See if the knee came down. The knee is down. The knee hit the ground right there.
You're right. Absolutely, on the replay, it's pretty obvious the knee is down. I didn't see that because we were screened by the player.
Pass was intercepted. The intercepting player did not go down on his knee. His knee did not touch. Subsequently fumbled the ball. Blue recovered. First down.
Well, that's Kelly Myers, our referee. He doesn't have the advantage of replay, and the knee obviously did go down, and maybe we can get a look at this one again. But that nullifies, obviously, a big break for Butler, a big break for Snow College, and nullifies a fine interception. Watch this. Here's the throw.
You'll take a look. He gets the interception. His knee is going to come down. Right when he slides here, you'll see his knee come down right there. It's going to touch the ground.
Yep,
Boom, it is
no
down.
Question, it is down. Yeah. Well, the officials missed one, but again, look at the conditions as Eastman hands off into the middle of that line again. and not too many yards. You've got to, again, you have to talk about the officials and what they're doing there. Mikhail Lindsay was the man who made the stop, but tough to get that in real time without the benefit of a replay.
And I'll tell you this, it's early on in this game, 19 left to play in the first quarter. There will be plays that will go the other way in favor of Butler throughout the course of this game, because that's just, that's just what we're dealing with as far as the weather is concerned.
That was a big break, however, for Snow College. And it's second down and call it 6 as the Badgers. Eastman operates under center. Takai the back, the fake to him and the little rollout and the throw, and it's complete. And Regan Buck has the football close to a first down. I think he'll be about a half a yard short depending on the spot, but Maurice Gray was the man who wrapped him up.
Nice job in pass coverage on that one. You take a look at Takai right here. He'll make a big block right there, and that's going to give the quarterback time to get the pass out to Regan Buck. Buck very close to a first down.
Comes up just a little short, maybe a yard. So 3rd and 1, and Takai trying to get himself a patch of turf to push off with that lead leg, scuffing the dirt, or what passes for a field today. Eastman again. Takai has a first down into the secondary and falls forward. Takai inside the 20-yard line. Wrapped up by Chris Campa.
We mentioned the tight end, Peter Tuipulotu. They put him at that fullback position as well and let him be the lead blocker for Takai. On the last play, Neil Takai, he just followed Tuipulotu down through that hole off tackle, and nice gain.
And it is a first down now for the Badgers. They're inside the 20-yard line. We're guessing at about the 17, maybe the 18-yard line. Snow College aided by the call that actually went the wrong way, but that's a completion to Buck, and Buck is inside the 10-yard line. James Schneider wrapping him up, bringing him down, and probably saving 6 on the play, but Snow College now moving the football. Just those little dump passes, and that's really all you can do. They run that spread offense, and you really have to be careful. They threw the pick already, got away with it because of the missed call, and you can bet that they've been told, take care of that football. We talked about it as one of the keys to the game for both teams today. You cannot afford to turn the ball over.
Looks like Snow's starting to find a rhythm right now. A little throw, a little pass, run the ball.
The toss to Takai. He's got a blocker out front, steps inside a block, and gets to about the 2-yard line. He had Peter Tuipulotu again out there, the tight end, but he was in the slot and became the lead blocker for him.
I'll tell you what, it's dangerous to make those tosses to a running back in this situation just because of the way the weather is. But nice job by Takai. He hauls it in. He's got Tuipulotu out there, number 85, number 51, 56. He got his big men in front of him. He just plows ahead for nice yardage.
Snow College threatening. They trail 7-0 to Butler in this battle of 2 unbeatens. Number 1 Snow, number 2 Butler for a national championship at the junior college level. Eastman with the give. And touchdown, Snow College. Again, you saw Takai, the workhorse back on this series, going into the end zone unmolested. And we're just 1 PAT away from tying this football game.
Neo Takai, just a very solid run. And talk so much about Sotelli, but you got to remember that Takai is a 900-yard rusher. He also had 8 touchdowns on the season, make it 9 now. And this one the biggest of the season because it ties this game up, or potentially will, with the PAT if they can get it through. That's no given, at least not today it's not.
And you see what's happening. Nice job, guys. They're clearing the field. Our camera guy showing you how much snow is on there to find a place for the holder.
Well, not only do you have to find a place for the holder, but your kicker's got to find a place where he can get back in his position there. So he's got to try to make sure that he's got solid footing all the way through.
Yeah, the danger, of course, is the plant foot. Watch his left foot because that's the plant foot. And obviously in this situation, that's the toughest part. Takes a shorter in run and puts the ball through the uprights. The kick by Joe Phillips is good, and we're all tied at 7 apiece here in Salt Lake City. A moment ago, Niu Takai, who carried through the bulk of this possession, gets into the end zone, and the game is knotted at 7. That's the hardest working guy out there this afternoon, the plow driver. He's going to get more airtime than anybody. Top of the Mountains Bowl brought to you in part by Energy Solutions. We're part of the solution. Well, I'll tell you, those guys are certainly part of the solution this afternoon. They have plowed, again, they're plowing a goal line, they're plowing a 20-yard line as the half of the field is being used, and that's about it. That's all you can hope for.
They're going to run out of gas at some point today.
Well, they may not be the only ones. Joe Phillips putting it on the tee, ready to go, and dropping back to receive Andre Jones. And he's standing at, pick your poison, about his own 10-yard line, maybe 8-yard line, somewhere around there. It's a guess at best, folks, and we hope you bear with us. There's the kick, and it is going to be picked by Jones. Nice kick. Jones avoids one tackler. Jones still on his feet. Jones out near midfield, the best we can tell. So a nice return by Andre Jones. Sam Thomas wrapped him up. And again, good field position for Butler. So the question is, Alema Harrington, are we going to see a high-scoring affair because of defensive mistakes because of this weather, or is this going to keep the scoring down?
I will tell you this, that I think you could see a high-scoring game only because if you can get your ground game going and get your running backs into the secondary through the linebacking core, you can pick up some good yardage. And already 5 minutes left in the first quarter, it's tied at 7.
Mike Garrison, the quarterback. And to give up the middle. And I'll tell you what, why would you go anywhere else? I mean, you just may as well keep the ball with the running backs.
I talked with Troy Morrell before this game, and I said, you know, do you think that you have any advantages here? And he said, yeah, I think our big advantage is our offensive line versus their defensive line. And if we can win that battle, this game is going to be won in the trenches. And I think whether they had the weather conditions the way they are or not, that would be the case for this matchup.
Well, we saw number 34, Randall Bell, be the guy to carry the football on that play. And Randall Bell is in that backfield again. So in the first series, we saw Bo Johnson, and now Bell is going to get some work as well. He gets the carry one more time and is very close to a first down. Looks like his forward progress carried him over the yard marker.
And Bell is one of those guys, he'll come in and spell Bo Johnson, but he had the longest run of the season in their conference championship game. He took one for 81 yards. So this is the guy, if you can get him into the linebackers or the secondary, he can break a big one for you.
Well, they're going to measure for this one as well. It's close enough. Looks to me like he has it from here.
See, normally I would trust you on this because we do broadcasts together all the time, and you're rarely wrong. But I don't know how you can tell, Steve, not in these conditions.
I had a 50-50 chance. I'm telling you, he's got the first down. There you go, and the official concurs. So it wasn't even that close. But on a day,
about a yard and a half he had.
This is a crew out of Texas, the officiating crew. They want to get it right.
Right.
And we've already showed one time where it was a call that they just missed a little bit. I would rather have them bring that out, measure it, and get it right, and then say, well, it looks like he has a first down. And certainly he's not going to go by my or your
our judgment
up here.
Not going to happen.
We know it's flawed. Look at that full house backfield right now for Butler. Now they changed the order. Hey, you come up front. No, you go back in the back. Bell with the motion. Wanting to throw and looping one down the sideline, and it's complete. Andre Jones has a touchdown for Butler.
It won't be a touchdown. He'd be shy of the touchdown.
Oh, he is. I beg your pardon. He is about the 3-yard line. I can see now the plowed area. All right. I appreciate the correction, by the way.
And this is a great job because he just lasered right into the open hands. And he's trying to keep his feet. I'll tell you, it's hard enough when you're a receiver, once you get the shoulders down to try to stay on your feet. But when you got no traction underneath you, there's almost no way that you can. It's like being on ice skates.
I think there's an Olympic event like that, isn't it? The skeleton, is that? Either way, they are close to the goal line. It's going to be spotted at about, looks like perhaps the 4 or 5 yard line. Yeah, I believe the wide patch is the goal line, and I mistakenly thought
right there. That's going to be your goal line.
All right, well, thanks for the correction, my friend. I'm glad you have my back. But it's 1st and goal now for Butler. You've got Bell in that backfield, along with Thad Carson. Carson is the up back. And the toss goes to Bell. Carson blocking in front of him, gives him a great block, and now he has a touchdown. So Randall Bell, off that lead block from Thad Carson, goes into the end zone for the 2nd Butler touchdown of the afternoon. think, my friend, you may be exactly right with the high-scoring prediction.
Nice lead block right there. Takes out the linebacker, and Bell's got a free path into the end zone.
And they're trying to clear a spot now for the PAT. Grady Fowler will be the man called on for the conversion for the second time this afternoon. It's 13-7 as number 2 Butler leads number 1 Snow College here in the snow in Salt Lake City.
That touchdown right there, that touchdown drive taking just over a minute. So we talked about scoring quickly, and they've been able to do that.
Out of the hold of Veneri, the kick is up, and it is good. And Grady Fowler has given his team a lead, but there's a flag on the play. There's something yellow. At least the one thing is the flag shows up very well against the snow. And it's going to be on snow. And so the PAT will stand.
We have a personal foul, number 90 on the defense, for pushing one of his players into the line. That penalty is refused. The kick is good.
They kind of gave somebody a help into the line, and the penalty refused. So 14-7 is our score when we return to Salt Lake City. The touchdown around the right side, Randall Bell for 6. Well, that's Rendell Bell sitting on the bench, and the blocker for him, Thad Carson, number 22, just walked out of the screen. But a 14-7 lead for Butler Community College here in Salt Lake City against Snow College for the Junior College National Championship game. And Butler will now kick the football. There's Kimball Burton dropping back to receive. I think Regan Buck is back there as well. Hard to determine through the blizzard. We do know, however, that's Grady Fowler who's going to kick. There's number 2, Kimball Burton. And it has been a thrill a minute out here. We hope you're enjoying the telecast. It is a little challenging, to say the least, for these players on the field and this grounds crew. And I'll tell you what, Kubota should have been a sponsor of this bowl game because the Kubota tractors had more airtime than anything else.
It's one of those situations where, you can't really, there's no way, obviously you try to prepare yourself for every condition. Sometimes if you're going to go play in a loud stadium, you bring in the speakers. There's no way to prepare for this. In fact, when this happens, most guys go to their indoor facility.
Well, we'll see what happens on this kick because it's been exciting, and this one is a little pop fly and fielded, and then stepping out of bounds on that play was Takai. That ball may have bounced out of bounds, but you probably wouldn't have gained anything. It was about the same position. So Regan Buck, number 5, didn't have a chance to handle.
The good news for Stone College is that it looks like they've established something that they're comfortable with offensively, and that is to go into that double slot, throw the quick pass. Regan Buck had some nice plays on that last drive. Get it to Neil Takai, put Tuitupo in front of him, let him go off the right side, off tackle, pull your guard. They're starting to get comfortable, at least, with what they're doing offensively.
Well, no question about it. Both teams are trying to establish a rhythm. John Eastman at quarterback there for Snow College, and Butler certainly established a rhythm. And now there's a conversation going on the Snow College sideline. Officials talking to head coach Steve Coburn. In fact, there are 3.5 officials over there. The 4th one is just joining. There you go. Just a couple of guys out of that screen. We almost have the portrait of the officials. If we get a couple of more guys in, we get the freeze frame, we get them all. Whatever was being discussed has now been at least satisfactorily resolved.
The kicking team, a penalty, a 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run. First down.
There was a penalty on the kicking team, okay.
There's Steve Coburn, 22-1 as a head coach. Last year, just 1 loss. They came to the top of the Mountains Bowl last year, and they beat Coffeyville. And then they have been undefeated so far this season. He has had an incredible run as the head coach of the Snow College Badgers.
And Takai is the lone setback now for Snow College. 2 wideouts and a slot receiver. Look at those offensive line splits. They play that spread offense. Takai with the football gets his feet. And then somebody else gets his feet as well, as he is brought down on the play by Maurice Gray. Just a reminder, get ready for an in-state rivalry game as UVU faces Utah State in the Gosner Food Classic on December 20th at 8 o'clock on The Fan, your home for college basketball. Of course, formerly UVSC. And they like to be called UVU, so we'll accord them that respect.
Now,
yes, they are.
Yep.
We will accord them that respect. Anyway, it's coming up in the Gosner Classic. So be sure and join us on that one. 5-yard pickup on the play by Takai. Brings up 2nd and 5. And Eastman wants to go up top again. Steps into the throw, throws the crossing route, and it's complete. Nice gain on the play, and a well-thrown football. Kimball Burton was the man who pulled it in front of Sean-Quez Powell. But a big first down and the biggest gain of the day for the Stowe College Badgers.
And you got Kimball coming over the top, just running kind of a crossing route. This is what that last drive did for Stowe College. It gave them confidence enough to throw that ball this time around, because you got to remember that Eastman threw that pick. They got it back on a call that was very questionable, and more than questionable. Okay, it was a bad call, and they went in for the touchdown, but it got them confidence in their offense.
Tuitupu is the slot man, number 84, the tight end, who's back actually in the backfield and uses a lead blocker. Nobody was a lead blocker on that play, and Takai needed somebody as that defensive charge by the Grizzlies effective and knocked him back for a couple of yards.
Marcus White into the backfield. This is the guy that's got 25 sacks on the season. That's his 37th tackle for a loss right there. This is a guy that's being recruited by everybody in Division I, and he is going to be a solid player for somebody next year.
Loss of 2 on the play, and there's, I tell you, you got to give it to these guys on the grounds crew. They are just working their tails off. So it's 2nd and 12. Long count by Eastman. Gives to Takai. Steps inside a block, and now he's into that secondary, and the linebacker has to make the play. Great miss at the point of impact.
Official down at about the 35-yard line.
Yeah, as we said, it is very difficult for everybody out there today, and that's our umpire. So the umpire goes down, and that's Kevin Diornelis, and he is not moving. Well, footing for everybody, treacherous, and then somebody who can't stop. So you're in the middle of that, the umpire playing in the middle of that area.
Yeah, you think about this, especially the officials, they are out there, and they you know, you think the guys have the right shoes for the condition. Well, the officials, they don't travel with a number of different shoes getting ready for it. They're probably in regular, what would be considered basketball shoes.
And they're looking at his right knee. They've got the leg elevated, and they've got the hands under the back of the right knee as he's rolled on his back. Let's see if we can get a look at this.
Takai doing a nice job just kind of picking his way into the linebackers and then into the secondary. The actual hit to the official took place right of that location where Takai ended up going down.
It's right where the defense was trying to close in as Takai was trying to make a cut. And the official often opportunity to get blindsided there. Now they're going to get him up. Let's see how they...
Here's
there
a look
he
at
is.
the officials.
His knee. Yep, right from the side. So they're walking him off the field right now with some help. We may be down an official as well. So good to see that Kevin Diornelis is actually walking, though, and he looks like he's not doing too badly. Maybe they can wrap that and get it back, or maybe he's done for the day. But again, kudos to everybody out there. This is not an easy thing to be doing this, playing this football game, officiating it, broadcasting it from our crew's standpoint. We're the lucky ones up in the booth. Well, if they've got an alternate here, and the word is that they may have, we don't have a name on him yet, but we do have bios on this entire officiating crew.
It's a pretty nice little publication that they put out there for the officials.
It's called the Myers Crew, and Kelly Myers, the referee. Over 40 years combined individual college officiating experience, including the Lone Star Conference, the American Southwest Conference, Southwest Junior College Conference. So these are a bunch of guys who've earned their way here to this national championship game. All right, meanwhile, we get back to action on 3rd down. Eastman again, plenty of time on the count. Takai, the ball carrier, around the right side. Takai leg drives and tries to get to the markers, very close to a first down with his second effort. Swanson Miller pulling him down.
Nice job by James Schneider coming from his linebacker position. Big collision with Takai. stopped him from getting the first down. At least it appears that he might be shy of maybe a yard or so of the first down. I'm not going to make the judgment.
Well, they're going to measure it
I'll
again.
let you do it.
This one I don't really have. Well, you know what? What the heck, right? I'll say he's short. I say he's short.
Okay. I think you're right.
No. He got it. He got it. That's the first miss all season, isn't it?
It is.
And it comes in a national championship game.
Yeah, well, you went with my judgment on it, and I'm never right.
You know, the odds were against me.
So it was 50-50, not in favor of you this
time. There you go.
Right?
Either I'm real good or I was way overdue to miss one, right? And I think it was the
odds were stacking up against you. You had too many right.
Absolutely. Well, it is first down. And our umpire is back. I'll tell you what, there's a gamer for you, huh? There's a gamer. Kevin Diornelis is back at his post, and it's first down for Snow College. Burton is the motion man. And the fake. He's got a man out there. Pass is complete to Burton. And Burton wrestled out of bounds. But a great ball fake on the play by the quarterback, John Eastman.
Eastman faked it to Takai, and the entire Grizzlies defense came up trying to make the play.
Play action, and that just gave Burton time to get a little separation. He's wide open out there. Nice close to the ball, however, on the part of Maurice Gray. And Gray drags him out of bounds. Not enough for a first down. Pickup of 9 on the play. In the backfield now, Rudy Brooks, the lone running back for Snow. And Brooks gets the call. And Brooks stacked up at the line of scrimmage. May have even been driven back on that play. That Grizzly defense, not fooled at all. Mikhail Lindsay, one of the men who got to him early.
Rudy Brooks, one of the younger players on this team, isn't even on their 3 deep chart. Tanner Brown is actually the only other guy that's got over 300 yards for the Snow College Badgers. But with Sonny Soteli down, they're trying to give Takai a spell.
And it's 3rd and 3. So actually knocked back on that play was the running back Rudy Brooks. Give to the ball carrier Soteli. First look at him today. He's short of the first down. James Schneider made sure of that. Running a little bit tentatively. You saw that, and if he does have the Achilles problem that you identified earlier, Alema, then you obviously can realize why he would be running that way.
He had the back of that right leg, had a strip of tape that went down it.
And he's coming back out. So it's 4th down. And what do you do in this kind of field condition? You're down a touchdown, and we're going to allow the first quarter to expire. That's what's going to happen on the field. So we're 15 minutes into this football game. And when we come back, a decision to be made by the Snow College Badgers and head coach Steve Coburn. His team got behind early, got the equalizer, and now is behind 14-7, but the Badgers are driving, and they have 4th and short. A decision and the second quarter coming when we return. Start of the second quarter. Snow College Badger fans on 4th down. The team is going for it on 4th and short. Butler leads Snow 14-7 in this Top of the Mountains Bowl. Vying for a national championship. A pair of unbeaten 11-0 teams coming in. Snow number 1 and Butler number 2. Eastman with a long count again. Burton is the motion man, and now he sets. And they'll keep it on the ground and go to Takai, and Takai spins for a first down and more inside the 10-yard line. Chris Campa again got to him, but not until he'll move the sticks.
Nice job by the Snow College offense. You line up Tui Tupo on the right side, and then you just take your tailback and you put him up the middle. A little misdirection.
Snowplow's got a goal line plowed, and they've got a back of the end zone plowed, so receivers and officials will know where that boundary is. In between, you get 10 yards of snow. And 1st and goal now from the 9-yard line for the Badgers. Niu Takai is the single setback. Buck was the motion man. And Takai into his belly and then into the teeth of that defense again. Campa, one of the individuals that came up to make the stop.
Both linebackers, Schneider and Campa, coming up and making the stop at about the, I'm going to say 6 yard. What are you going to say there? 8 yard line? 7?
Yeah, let's see where they
I
spot
just
it.
said 6, 7, and 8, so I got to be right.
You got it covered. I'm saying about the 8 yard line, but you got it covered, my friend. 2nd and goal. Snow College trying to tie this football game as we're just underway here in the second quarter. First quarter took about 50 minutes to play. And if you think it felt long up here, how about down on the field?
Absolutely.
Or in the stands for those diehard fans in there. Takai is the deep back. Eastman wants to throw. Eastman's got time, and now Eastman is sacked. Took just too long. Marcus White was the first man to get him. Dove on his back, and there's a look at White celebrating. Marcus White out of West Palm Beach, Florida. You think it's not culture shock for him here today?
You had to know that at some point this kid, Marcus White, was going to get a sack. 25 on the season, make it 26 now. Those are just ridiculous numbers. But the guy's got such great speed. They compare him to, a guy like Jason Taylor because he looks built more like a tight end, but a great pass rusher.
So that loss on the play, they're out at about the 13-yard line now. Throwing complete is Eastman. And stretching for the markers, not quite getting there, was Joseph Sawyer. Stopping him on that play was J.D. Douglas, the free safety. But Sawyer stretching to about the 2, and now you've got another decision to make, although maybe it really isn't much of a decision. Do you go for this one? There's the little toss, and wide open. If you can get the ball to them, there's no question about it. If you can get the ball to them, you can get receivers to make plays because there's plenty of space, and there was a flag on the play. Not sure that the official's mic is working. There's another personal foul on Butler, and that, of course, is the first down, so it takes the decision out of the hands of Steve Coburn if there was one to make.
Number 43 on the defense, penalty tacked on at the end of the run, half the distance, first down.
Roughing the passer was the call, so half the distance and 1st and goal. A big break now for Snow College, as they would have been facing a 4th and goal. Now they've got a 1st and goal from about the 1-yard line.
The only good news if you're the Butler Grizzlies right now is that at least you got some traction because that goal line's been plowed for you.
Takai is the lone setback again, and Eastman changing the play. Butler showing blitz. And the Grizzlies do bring pressure. They give to Takai, and he's stacked up at about the 1 again. That pile still moving, and now finally bent laterally. And it's going to be 2nd and goal.
Marcus White in there, Mikael Lindsay from his linebacking position.
Coach John Hunter's offensive line. Got to get things going, and hopefully they can punch it in from the 1. If you're a Badger fan, you've got to believe that you got to be able to get 1 yard.
There's Steve Coburn on the sideline, willing his team to get into the end zone.
And if you're a Butler fan, you say, goal line defense, baby.
A lot of beef down there. Tyler Jessen, number 54, 6'2", 290.
Ball fake. Quarterback keeps, throws, wide open touchdown. Into the end zone. And it was number 84, the guy who's been used as a blocking back, the tight end, Tuitupu. Well, I'll tell you, it's a good thing I got you, Alema Harrington, with me for the Polynesian names.
And here's the great thing about it. Tuitupu is a guy that started out at the University of Utah. They beefed him up to about 255. They said, we're going to move you to offensive line. He said, hold on a second. I want to play tight end. I want to be able to catch the ball. Well, he goes over to Snow College and says, you want to play tight end? Okay, we'll put you a little fullback as well. He says, I'm fine with that. He catches a touchdown in the national championship game, and potentially they can tie it up right now at 14 apiece.
Joe Phillips set for the PA attempt out of Regan Buck's hold. Trying to even this game at 14. High snap bobbled. The kick is up and it's blocked. So no good. And again, you've got to believe that was the elements. Although the snap was a little bit high, Buck couldn't get it down, and no opportunity for Joe Phillips. But Peter Tuitupu with the touchdown reception, a great fake to Takai, and wide open, dragging across the goal line. Tupou with the touchdown. There he is, number 84, Peter Tuitupo, the tight end, who just caught a touchdown pass. Top of the Mountains Bowl here in Salt Lake City, brought to you in part by Sanpete Steel. Complete steel fabrication and erection serving the entire Intermountain West. Well, you get a look at the conditions today that are facing the players and the officials out there. It is not an easy day. But both teams have found the end zone twice, and we're just underway here in the second quarter. Dropping back to receive, Sam Jacobson. Get a look at him for Butler. And here comes the kick. And this one will be actually fielded by the deepest of backs. That's Andre Jones, the return specialist. Got a chance to get his hands on it, still on his feet, and now is finally brought down. John Toitoli was the man who, Tatioli. I'll get it yet. John Tatioli. My Polynesian pronunciations today are as bad as the weather.
That's all right.
Tatioli, and I know these guys
because we're good.
You know what? That's exactly right. Pronounce every vowel. You can't go too far wrong. So Tatioli bringing him down. My apologies to the family. And you know, that's the other thing. When these guys are local, you blow that name, you're going to hear about it.
Well, you might not hear about it, but when I go to family
you're going to hear about it.
I'm going to hear about it.
All right, well, that's your charge is to keep me straight. So you're right. It is your responsibility. First down now for Butler. They lead by 1 after the missed PAT a moment ago. And the deep toss, keeping it on the ground, is Johnson. Bo Johnson. Johnson knocked down by Josh Sharp. And not much on the play. If you start running laterally on this field, you're going to have a long afternoon.
Nice job by Josh Sharp coming up from that linebacker position, one of the team leaders with this group. And I'll tell you what, if you're Snow College right now, what you need to do is you got to figure out a way to slow down Bo Johnson. That's how you do it. You got to be able to move laterally and get to the ball.
Running between the tackles is what served Butler so well in their first series, leading to their touchdown after, of course, one long pass play. And this time Johnson keeps it inside. Bulldog down. And I do mean bulldog down. Tyler Osborne was the man who brought him down. Well, we've got 288s on our. It's either Tyrell Beckstrand.
I think that was Tavita Hola that made the stop 98.
Well, we got 3 different players, but we have 2 listed at number 88. So it is number 98 on this play, though. Tavita Hola, you're right.
Hola,
he looked like he was in a rodeo.
Hola's committed to BYU.
Changing the play at the line of scrimmage now. And it's a throw to the outside, and it's complete. So the change, Andre Jones is the man who made the reception, and Andrew Rich is the man who brought him down. But a change at the line of scrimmage by quarterback Mike Garrison. And that was a throw that was actually required some finesse on it. Pretty impressive throw in these kind of conditions.
You talk about Butler's offense. It's not necessarily. It's actually a fairly balanced offense because they do run the ball. They go about 2,000 plus on both sides of the ball. They have more rushing yards for the season than they do have passing yards, but they can't throw the ball.
First down, into the air. Garrison got a man on the outside. He was well covered. And a flag goes in late. A flag goes in. Andre Jones, the intended receiver. And a flag went in late. And in coverage was James Freed. And I think he's going to be tagged with a pass interference call. Looked to me like both guys going for the football. I'm not sure if it was reachable anyway, but.
Pass interference, number 3, defense.
Well, there's the call.
What happens here, you watch James Freed in this coverage, and he'll get into the body of the receiver, and you can't do that. Once you get into the body and you take him out, they're going to say, well, that wasn't a catchable ball, but the truth is, you get your body into it, then your hands come out, and then Freed, they got to call that.
And it was a good call. Whether you blame it on the snow or just the poor technique, he did get the body into him. You're right, Alema. And so a first down by penalty now for Butler. And we'll see what they do. So the drive perpetuated by that penalty. 1st and 10. Butler Community College with a 14-13 lead over Snow College. Garrison wants to throw again, and why not? He's been successful, and he throws complete to the outside. Holding on to the football and showing it to the official is Sam Jacobson. Said, yeah, I got it. Got my arms underneath it, kept it in my hands, and it was Braden Frampton who was in coverage.
Frampton out of Pleasant Grove High School done a nice job closing on Sam Jacobson. You watch Franzen come up on Jacobson, and if Jacobson makes this catch, doesn't get hit, he can turn to the outside and get some yards.
So Frampton brings him down, but not before he picks up about 7 on the play. Maybe 6, call it 4 yards rather, 2nd and 4, and they'll run the football again between the tackles. The way they were succeeding early, between the tackles. Bo Johnson, the ball carrier, already has a touchdown. Paella, man who made the stop. Now he's from Tonga.
Straight out of Tonga.
So you tell me. You don't get a lot of snow, do you, there?
No, there rarely snows in Tonga. Rarely snows there.
In fact, the weather almanac for snow is about 1 line on 1 page. Is that it?
That's right.
That's what I thought you'd say. They're going to measure this one, see how close he was to the first down.
Grizzlies with success, once again, as you mentioned, between the tackles. You take a look at their offensive line going across the front, 280 pounds for Dahl, their center, 300 pounds for Weibert, 300 pounds for Chappelle, Dolman, 300, Dircher, 300. You know, it's interesting because they mark all of these guys about 295 to 297, 300 pounds.
Well, yeah, because, when they do those weights, don't you? That's when they all have to make weight or they run. So all those weights are preseason weights, right? When they've got to do that mile run and everything else, you got to make weight or you do laps. This time of year, 320, 325.
So something like, you're probably right. You probably pick up 10, 15 pounds during the course of the season.
Well, you saw how short they were for the first down, just a couple of links of that chain. Look into that huddle. Quarterback Mike Garrison. And he'll talk to that O-line and say, hey, big fella, all you got to do is get me about 1.5 feet.
It's been interesting because both of these teams have used multiple quarterbacks in the course of the season, and basically because of injuries to one guy or the other, and still had success, still go undefeated and have to use different quarterbacks.
And that surge by that offensive line, and they get the first down on the play. Well, I'll tell you the story of Mike Garrison. It's a great story. He was cut from the team last year, stuck around as a student coach, and came back and he's the starter. He went from water boy basically to starting quarterback.
Now, I'll tell you, you do something like that, and you have the instant respect of the guys on the team. Because all of a sudden, you guy that could easily be bitter and out of the program, you stick around and come back and you lead the team to a national title appearance.
Johnson is the deep back. And Johnson, the ball fake to him. And a wide open receiver. Touchdown. Number 80 on the play is Wayne Bonner, and that ball was just enough air to let him run underneath it. Sky Povey was the man he beat in coverage, but a great throw. You knew if that ball got there soon enough, it was 6.
That's just a great catch by Wayne Bonner, 6'4", so the guy is a big target, but he's got to go up. You got to hang on to it right there because he is covered like a blanket. Does a nice job hanging on to the ball for the touchdown.
And now Grady Fowler to try the PAT for the 3rd time on the afternoon. Not feeling any pain from the snow with Bonner on that play. Certainly not now when he's got his helmet off and he's getting the congratulations on the sideline. So it's 20-13. And Fowler trying to make it 21. See that short in run he's got. Just 1, 2, 3 steps. Don't need the distance. What you need is that solid plant foot, and he's got it. And it's a 21-13 lead. And a moment ago, the pass from Mike Garrison to Wayne Bonner. Just put it up and let him go get it. And he did. We'll return in just a moment. Right now, it's Butler College with a 21-13 lead over Snow College, number 2, leading number 1 in the JC National Rankings. Welcome back to snowy Salt Lake City, everybody. And a moment ago, that man, number 80, Wayne Bonner, catching a touchdown pass to give his team that lead. Grady Fowler set to kick. As you look at Bonner, all of a sudden it doesn't feel so cold, Dilemma.
I think he might be numb at this point.
Well,
anyway.
that's possible, too. That's certainly possible. And that kick right down the middle and fielded by Kimball Burton. Burton got a block. Burton spins and is knocked down. So a decent return for Snow College.
Well, we hope you're getting your fill of football today. Coming up later on tonight, a little A game. Talking a little basketball coming up tonight. We'll talk about the Aggies basketball program. Stu Morrill, of course, and J.C. Carroll back with Utah State. And Darren Williams is inside the latest Men's Journal magazine, the December issue, and a little photo, spread, a little layout and fashion thing.
He's got it going on.
He does.
First down now for the Snow College Badgers. Eastman, a quarterback again, operating from under center. Tried the shotgun early, and it didn't go well. He's been under center most of the afternoon then, and Takai is the ball carrier. Knocked down on the play for not much of a gain.
We got to start making plays and give our offense the ball back.
There you go. There's the pep talk on the sidelines, the defensive unit.
No, it's been interesting because we've been running the ball through the majority of this game. A couple of touchdowns passing the ball, both for Snow College and for Butler Community College. For Wayne Bonner, that was only his second touchdown of the season. But the clock seems like it's just, in slow motion right now.
You saw number 98, Zach Clark, make that tackle, the freshman out of Wichita, Kansas. Buck was the motion man. He'll set at the top of the screen. Eastman wants to throws, and it's incomplete. Going for Sam Thomas, who couldn't hold on to the football. A little bit extra muster on it, and that's just couldn't hang on. Even with the gloves on a day like today, it's not easy.
I talked about this. It's been interesting to see the amount of success that both teams have been having offensively, passing the ball. Take a look at Thomas go up there. He tries to stab it and bring it in. Thomas, 6 foot, 171 pounds, out of Timpanogos High School.
So it brings up third down at about 5.5, call it 6 yards maybe on the play. That's what they'll need to get the first down, trailing 21-13. Now Butler showing some pressure from the edge. And they'll bring it inside. Throwing it under pressure. Eastman, did he get the feet down on the reception? Yes. A completed pass play. And that pass went complete to number 85, Joseph Saul. Takai, the single setback. The give is to Takai. Steps inside a block and falls forward for a couple on the play. Again, the center of that defense closing in quickly. Not much worry about going sideline to sideline and stringing a play out today. Swanson Miller, number 99, one of the men on the bottom of that pile, making the stop.
Again, 6'5", 320 pounds. The guy's just plugging up the middle. He's got great athletic ability, agility. I was talking to some of the guys that were at the little banquet that they had last night. I said, man, I saw this kid Swanson. The guy's huge.
He's not a TV dinner eater, I guess, huh? Motion man is Buck. Deep toss to Kai. And the side of that defense was not fooled at all. They brought pressure up. J.D. Douglas came up from his free safety position to help on that stop. As soon as that toss came, it just takes too long for that deep toss, and then when you run laterally across the grain, there's just way too much time for the defense to react.
And the tough thing, if you're a running back, you're trying to go laterally, and then, of course, everybody knows that what you really need to do as a running back, you got to square your shoulders and start moving upfield. Once you try to do that and you've got no footing, then it becomes very difficult. You start sliding around and the pursuit can get to you.
Well, and the instinct is, you don't see the hole develop, you bounce it to the outside. So everything you have to do goes contrary to instinct on a field like this, especially if you're a running back with some quick feet. Eastman again, stepping up, throws down the middle on the post route, and the receiver goes down. Bracket coverage there. He had two defenders, one on each side of him. It was Kimball Burton, and Kimball's looking for a flag there. Their feet got tangled up. But the coverage men on the play just had him bracketed perfectly, and that ball would have had to have been perfect.
They're going to call this incidental contact, as you mentioned, bracketed by 3 different defensive backs right there, all in the vicinity, and just unable to get to it. They will say that that ball was out of reach anyway.
Kyle Woodall, number 33, Kyle Woodall was the man who knocked him down, and Kimball Burton is still being violated over there on the sideline, but the call will not go his way. And it brings up 4th down, the punting situation. And a punt from Jeff Wright. And that ball will be allowed to bounce and out of play. So we'll look at the yard marker here and try and get you a bearing here in just a minute. What's that, about the 17-yard line perhaps?
I think you're close. You got to be close. Somewhere around the 17-yard line. And the kicking game becomes so important right now. That was just the second punt of the game for the Snow Badgers. I don't think that Butler's had to kick the ball away. Maybe once so far this game, but that becomes another opportunity, special teams-wise, to try to get the ball back. And if you're Butler, you're smart to let it go out of bounds and don't even try to field it in a condition like this.
And we had a change at quarterback for a moment. Now Garrison is there and hands the ball off to Johnson. In the first set that they came out a moment ago, they had Andre Jones as the quarterback, and then they changed into the more standard formation. Andrew Rich was the man who stopped the ball carrier, Bo Johnson. Not before he gets a first down, however.
You take a look at Bo Johnson, coming off that shift, and have Snow College a little bit on their heels trying to figure out the formation, and Bo Johnson doing a nice job just going south to north and picking up yards.
There's a look at Johnson, over 1,500 yards on this season and over 1,100 a year ago. Resets again in that 3-point stance. The up back. And that was Thad Carson, but timeout has been taken. So they'll talk things over. Something did not look right for Butler Community College, and we'll step aside with 5:22 remaining in the first half and a 21-13 Grizzly lead. Well, the lights are on at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City, but by the looks of the stands, everybody's home today with the exception of those diehards. We hope if you're joining us on the television broadcast, you're enjoying this broadcast. It's 21-13. Butler leading Snow College right now, and a 1st and 10 for the Grizzlies.
That's a pretty decent-sized crowd that has come from the surrounding areas, and of course their team, the Snow College Badgers, playing for a national championship today. There's a lot of guys in this community that played for Snow over the years, and so a lot of guys that have come back to support their team in this game today. And then Butler traveled pretty well. I'm counting 40 people down there.
Oh, there's more than that, but I'm not going to let you take your shoes off to go above 10. 5:22 remaining here in the first half. Johnson again, the ball carrier up the middle. They have found a home for him. Of course, they found a home for him all season long. Andrew Rich brings him down, but Bo Johnson has run the football all season long, the last 2 seasons now. And you can expect him to be playing at a 4-year institution next year.
Absolutely. Talking to Troy Morrell before this game about their game plan. You see, we
has a first down and more with the leg drive. Jake Palmer wrapped him up, but Bo Johnson continues to add to his statistics.
Take a look at Bo Johnson. He's wearing the rib protectors, and you almost wonder if that's just extra insulation.
It may be necessary today. Under Armour is fine as far as it goes, but it's not meant for these kind of conditions.
You got guys out there with down padding underneath.
Garrison brings him to the line of scrimmage on first down. Long count from Mike Garrison. And then the deep toss. Johnson again, the ball carrier. Johnson wrapped up, brought down by Chris Romero, among others, in that Snow Badger defensive unit. So they're just staying with, dancing with who brung you, as Bum Phillips used to say, right?
Bo Johnson getting the balance of the carries here. We've seen Bell, of course, in this game as well. He has a touchdown today.
And on the other side of the ledger, Sonny Sotili, the guy who had more than 1,300 yards for Snow College, has been out of the lineup. I think we've only seen him carry the football once. You mentioned you thought he had an Achilles problem before this game, and of course it couldn't get any worse for an Achilles problem than to have this kind of footing. Well, we got a change on this one. Number 34, Randall Bell, who has a touchdown, was the one who got the call. So they gave Johnson a breather on the play. Hey, the switch is flipped on every weeknight at 9:35. My partner here, Alema Harrington, brings you Powerhouse. It is live local sports. It brings you, the fan, closer to the action, and it's right here on KJAZ TV. So be sure and join Alema on that one. You're a man of many hats, my friend.
Busy man.
Yes, sir. I-formation backfield. Bell is the deep back. Bell with the toss. It's the play they got the touchdown on earlier. Got a decent block on the outside by number 22, Thad Carson. But it was not the cruncher that he scored the touchdown on. But they try that right side again, and Joey Schrader was the man who brings him down.
Again, it becomes difficult as a running back to try to go lateral and then turn it upfield. It looks like they'll be shy of the first down. They'll bring up fourth down.
John Todioli also combining on that play. I only said that because I wanted him to know I got his name right this time, and his folks too. So, yeah, we were looking at him anyway, number 54.
Butler will punt the ball away.
Well, at this point, probably a smart play. You're up by a touchdown and a two-point conversion. That field position isn't the best. And now timeout was called. But why not flip the field?
I think the Snow College may have called a timeout in this situation because they were trying to get their punt return team out of the field.
So it did work in costing them a timeout. But again, going back to the wisdom of that play, you may as well flip the field with 2 minutes and 13 seconds remaining in the quarter.
30-second timeout.
So a 30-second timeout. There's a look at the band. That's the way to stay warm. Get up close to a trombone or a French horn on a day like today, right?
You know, look, there's a pretty decent-sized crowd.
That's a great crowd.
Has come from Snow College to support this team. There's been a lot of build-up to this game because they're playing for a national championship. As we mentioned, these are two teams right here, both undefeated. And Butler coming out of the Jayhawk League, they have won the national championship 4 different times. They're looking for their 5th. They've been to 6 different national championship games and won it 4 times. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and in 98 and 99, they had a guy who was a pretty decent back there, a guy by the name of Rudy Johnson, who's now with the Cincinnati Bengals. They played Coffeyville, Kansas for their district championship, their league championship in those games, and one of the days was just like this, and Johnson was the only guy who could find footing. Welcome back, everybody. Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City. If you just joined us, under a blanket of snow, Steve Brown along with Alema Harrington bringing you the Zions Bank Top of the Mountain Bowl. No fair catch called for, and a big stick put on Buck. And the man who got to him was number 31, Wes Downing. Yeah. Wes Downing just put his head down and downed number 5, Regan Buck, on that play.
And this is why you go ahead and punt it away, because in conditions like this, you know, you give Regan Buck some credit because he's got to come up and make that catch. He gets hit almost instantaneously as soon as he catches the ball. Give him credit for hanging on to the ball. But if you're you're looking at an opportunity, you know, possibly to get a turnover there just by kicking the ball away, and maybe you advance the ball, you know, offensively 30 yards.
Well, that ball looks to be about the 20-yard line or close to it. On 1st and 10 with 2:04 remaining here in the first half. Eastman going to the air again. He's got a man again on a crossing route, and that ball was right there, and a great play. So they've twice on the crossing route now. They've been successful. That one was Adam Franzen who pulled it in. He had to go down for the football, got his arms underneath it, and then just let the momentum bring him down. But a big gain on that play, and the clock will stop while the chains move. If you're Snow College, you try and get something obviously out of this possession. So in that hurry-up offense, official winds the clock one more time. Eastman again. Pump fake. Eastman in the grass. Eastman throws it. And let's see if the flag goes in for grounding. They said he was down and in the grass. James Schneider had gotten a hold of him. So for a moment, it looked like Eastman may be able to roll out, but credit Schneider for coming in and making that play.
Schneider was looking for his 3rd sack on the season. He's got an interception on the year as well. 6 tackles for losses. 6 foot, 215 pounds out of Topeka, Kansas.
And the clock is wound now as we're counting it down. Eastman wants to throw. Pump fake. Now he's got the throw, and he bounces one. It was intended for Kimball Burton, underthrown. Stops the clock. 21-13 is our score, and 1:07 remaining in this first half. So the incompletion stops the clock, but it also brings up third and about 16.
They brought Tui Tupo out into the lineup, and then they brought him back off the field. They'll go with a no tight end formation.
Yeah, and a 4 wide receiver set. Third and long, and Eastman to the air again. Pressure, blindsided, and drilled from behind by Antonio Felder.
Oh, don't even try it, son.
He came from the outside, and Felder absolutely drilled him in the back. And that's when you go back to that huddle, if you're the quarterback, and say, somebody's got to protect my backside.
Felder's is coming in from that safety position, and he is untouched, unpicked up. You got a one-back set. You got 4 receivers out in routes. You're trying to release your running back at the same time, or at least go play action, and he just got blindsided. Speaking of Eastman, he just took a shot to the back.
And now Butler is going to get the football back with 1:03 remaining here in the first half. The punt on its way, and it's going to be fielded. Fielded by Dorian Williams, and not much on the play. But still, the football is back, and Braden Frampton was the man who stopped him. But you've got the football if you are Butler, and do you sit on a 21-13 lead with 54 seconds remaining, or do you try and get something out of it? We'll find out here in just a minute, but a reminder coming up at the half. We'll go to our 2 news studios for an update on all of today's headlines and the weather. Plus, we'll break down the first half. It's right here on The Fan on KJAZ TV, so be sure and stay tuned.
Almost seems like the snow has let up a little bit, and they'll get a chance to plow the field during the half.
Well, you're an optimist, my friend. Throw to the outside, incomplete, intended for Andre Jones. I think it has, you're right. And now you've just got that patchwork quilt of snow and open field there, and if they get to the plows at halftime, there's a real possibility we could play the second half on a field with actual lines and yardage markers.
You know, talking to Steve Coburn before this game, he said, you know, every time we play in this the Top of the Mountains Bowl, it seems like we experience 3 seasons during the course of the game. You know, it gets warm, and all of a sudden the rain comes, then it might snow a little bit. We might see the same thing today.
Well, I'm waiting for those first 2, because all we've seen so far is the 3, the snow. Right into that defensive line, and it looks like Butler is going to be content with that halftime lead. Randall Bell was the ball carrier. Andrew Rich bringing him down. 35 seconds and counting remaining here in the half. And it's a 21-13 lead for the Butler Grizzlies. The number 2 ranked team in the nation leads the number 1. Will the second half weather change the game plan and the opportunity for Snow to unveil that passing game that has served them so well all season? Bell again, the ball carrier. And Bell is wrapped up and brought down by Josh Sharp. And that should, well, 9 seconds, and the clock is stopped momentarily. And we'll see the reason for the stoppage there.
Looks like they may have a face mask penalty.
Timeout.
Timeout.
A timeout has been taken by Butler with 9 seconds remaining. There's a look at our referee for the day, and again, that officiating crew certainly earning their dollars today. Not well paid for what they do, and that's Kelly Myers. Kelly Myers is an attorney and an associate family law judge, so you don't want to dispute too many calls from him. A reminder, the top of the yeah, it might cost you, you bet. The Top of the Mountains Bowl brought to you in part by the Utah Sports Commission. Utah, the state of sport. So you got the guy there on the snow shovel, clearing those lines.
You know, we talked about this officiating crew, and this is a national championship game. The winner of this game will more than likely be the junior college national champion. So they bring in the best officiating crew, the one with the most experience. Guys that have been around in big games before.
Over 40 years on this crew 11. Over 40 years. The Myers crew, they call them, out of Waco, Texas. Southwest Junior College Conference. Got a nice full color glossy on every one of them.
They even travel with an alternate
Got a podiatrist as one of the guys in there. Got an attorney. And on fourth down, the punt is blocked. The kick is blocked. It's picked up, however, by Butler. But with 1.5 seconds remaining on the clock, it is blocked, and you've got a chance for a one toss into the end zone. See if you can't get something. Well, if you got a trick play, maybe you want to run it now. Maybe you just want to put it up for grabs. But an opportunity for Snow College to get something out of this. Didn't catch the number of the guy who blocked it, but that kick was blocked. And now timeout has been taken. And let's see if we can pick it up.
It's just pressure up the middle, Steve. Guys coming up the middle and trying to get to the football.
Kimball Burton looks to be the guy who got it. Number 2 just smothered the kick. And a huge defensive play with 1.5 seconds left. And you get a look at number 2, Kimball Burton.
This guy's one of the return guys. It's usually himself and Regan Buck that are back, to make the reception on a punt or a kickoff. Now you put one of your most athletic guys and you just drive them up the middle and see if you can get them free and block the punt. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, Kimball Burton, 6 foot, 190-pound sophomore out of Idaho Falls, Idaho, making a big defensive play. The only problem for Snow College, they only have a 1.5 seconds, so it's really just one throw, probably into the end zone, unless you've got a wrinkle that you want to show right now.
We haven't seen a whole lot of screen passes, draw plays for either team. It might be the time right now to bring that out.
Well, Goyen and its management employees and independent business owners would like to congratulate the student athletes and coaches participating in today's game. Being your best is the ultimate goal. Goyen is proud to support the amazing players and their efforts today. And now breaking the huddle on the sideline, Snow College Badgers. You've got Burton to the near side as a wide out. To the top of the screen, you've got Adam Franson. And Takai is your lone setback. Buck is in the slot. They're going to throw to the outside, and it's overthrown. Well, it was a little short throw. Wondered if they had a hook and ladder on there.
Hook and ladder on that play. I think you're right, Steve.
But Franson could not bring it in, and the end of the half shows a 21-13 lead by the Butler Community College Grizzlies. It's flips. And let's see what happens when he doesn't have to wade through 3 or 4 inches of snow to make contact with the football. Well, it's the longest kick of the day, I think, by Joe Phillips. And now we're underway, and it's Andre Jones who has the football, running laterally and finally jumping out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. So they strung it out, did the Snow College return team. The coverage team, rather, and were able to get the return man to go out of bounds. It's going to be interesting to see who adjusts to the changing conditions. At first, both teams tried to kind of do what they had done habitually in that first half. Now they've got to undo, in some respects, what they were doing as far as the techniques they were using to get footing and everything else.
But it's certainly easier to revert back to what you're accustomed to as far as, during the whole season as opposed to what you were doing in one half of a game.
Carson and Johnson are set behind the quarterback, Mike Garrison, as we're underway here in the second half. Pressure coming now from Snow College. Johnson runs right past the first rush and then is brought down. On the stop, Josh Sharp. And it's, you look at 34 points put on the board in that first half. These are both offenses that can score. They're also, in the person of Snow College, the second-ranked defense in the country. So they can stop people as well, and it's not a bad defensive unit on the other side for Butler. So, again, the question is, which one prevails? Which one will rise to the surface here this afternoon? The offensive units or the defenses? Johnson again, the ball carrier. Johnson, he's got some room. Johnson into the secondary and beyond, and it's a foot race now. And Johnson is going to win it. There's one man who can catch him, and it's not going to happen as Johnson goes for the touchdown. Jared Galvin could not close from behind, and Johnson scores. And that ball was about, what, the 21-yard line?
Yes,
is that going to be a 79-yard touchdown?
A.J. Van Valkenburg has a chance to get him in the backfield, but just misses him right here. And then all of a sudden he's into the linebackers, makes one guy miss, gets a nice block. One of his guys picks up 2 men, and then it's off to the races. I mentioned the speed for Bo Johnson. Not blinding, about a 4.5, but enough if he can get some space to get him into the end zone, and it did on this play.
PAT try coming now from Grady Fowler, who splits the uprights. And just that quickly, it's a 28-13 lead for Butler Community College. Well, how will Snow respond? Punch has been thrown. Is there a counter punch? We'll find out when we return to Salt Lake City. Well, if you blinked, you missed it, because we played a little over a minute here in the second half. And a moment ago, we had an 80-yard touchdown run by Bo Johnson, and Butler leads Snow College by a 28-13 count. Well, Emma Harrington, now it's up to Snow to answer back and answer back quickly. The return men, Kimball Burton and Regan Buck.
Bo Johnson, that puts him over 144 yards for the day. That was his longest run of the season, 80 yards. His longest prior to that, 75 yards. Bo Johnson just took off and off to the races, and he won the race and got the touchdown.
Brady Fowler puts his foot into it, and it's going to be taken by Burton at the far side. Kimball Burton. Burton to the middle, and Burton out past the 30-yard line before he's wrapped up by Caleb Lawrence. And we'll see what Snow can do on a much better field than they enjoyed in the first half. And my guess is that passing game is going to have to be unleashed a little bit right now, because you don't want to lose contact. At 28-13, you're down 2 scores and a 2-point conversion. You can't really afford to get any further behind, although you do have an offense that can play catch-up football.
Certainly, if you're Snow College, you rely on the arm of John Eastman, but you don't go away from what got you to this point, which is Neil Takai.
Well, you've been into the end zone twice in that first half, and Takai is the lone back, but right to the air as Eastman throws to the outside. Pass is complete. Stop made by Maurice Gray. And a pass was complete to Adam Franzen.
Neil Takai had 18 rushes in the first half of this game, 45 yards. Now, he averages through the course of the season over 6 yards per carry. In fact, every running back in this game that is a significant running back is averaging over 6 yards per carry. But if you look at Takai's number, he was 2.5 yards per carry in the first half of this game.
From the 36-yard line. Boy, it's nice to be able to identify the yard line. It was a 4-yard gain on the play. Takai on the draw play. Takai looks to have a first down. Very, very close if he doesn't have it. And also stopped by Maurice Gray on that play and Chris Kemp. Let's take a look at our first half stats and see how close this game was. You look at total offense, about a 40-yard difference is all. Passing yards, pretty darn even. The glaring omission there, 38 yards is all that Snow College had on the ground, even though they enjoyed a 7-minute edge in time of possession.
And the one turnover that, that Snow College ended up with, you take a look at the turnover that they got there, that one should be wiped away, really, it should.
It's a first down now for the Badgers. Ball carrier again to Kai. Well read by the left side of that defensive line.
We talked, Steve, about the battle in the trenches, and it will continue in the second half of this game.
There's big number 99, Swanson Miller. Kyle Woodall was also in on that play, but that defensive unit, again, that has held Snow College to that very, very small rushing. And that's something they've done all year, by the way. They're very stingy on the giving up the rushes. But so was Snow College, and you see, as you talked about, Johnson is already over 140 yards. Aided, of course, by the 80-yard single run. Eastman arm hit as he throws, and ball falls harmlessly to the turf. Defensive push up front by the Grizzlies, and they got to Eastman on the play.
We have already talked about the defense for Butler, and you know, Snow is one of those offenses. They can put up some yards. They're averaging 457 yards per game offensively, and they've struggled. And part of it is the conditions. And the truth is, we're dealing with a situation because of the weather that you got short field. And so when you do score, it's usually because you're 40 yards out or maybe even closer than that, so you're not piling up the yardage.
Eastman out of Hillcrest High School facing the 3rd and 7. Pressure coming again. Eastman got it away, but he had to throw it too soon. Disrupting the timing was number 11, Marcus White, coming in again and providing that kind of pressure. And Eastman had to release a little more quickly than he'd like to. It disrupted the timing on the play. And it's a punt required now. Here's number 11 coming in. There's the pressure, and Eastman sandwiched on that play, and no opportunity to complete the pass. Grizzly defense holds, and the Badgers on their first possession going to have to kick it away. Not what you wanted if you were Coach Steve Coburn coming out of the halftime locker room. Boy, just barely got the punt away. It's a short kick that rolls out of bounds at the 29-yard line. Jeff Wright almost had that one blocked.
And right now, if you're the Snow College Badgers, you're basically your national championship, your #1 ranking, your undefeated record is on the line right now. This is a huge possession right now, defensive stand-wise, for Snow College. They got to come out and get a 3-and-out. Now, if you're Butler right now, you can basically put this thing away if you can get into the end zone on this drive.
The line of scrimmage, the 29-yard line. Garrison under center. Randall Bell gets the call. Number 34 rumbles across the line of scrimmage and picks up a 5 or 6 yard gain on the play before Rich can stop him. Well, Bell gets that forward motion going, and he gets some momentum. It's awful hard to bring him down. He's 5'9", 210 out of Union City, Georgia, and he's just a little bowling ball. You get that inertia and look out.
We talked about the benefit of the weather changing for the offense's passing attacks, but also for the running games as well.
Play action to Bell. Lots of time. Garrison throws a little touch pass, and he's got a receiver, and he will not be caught. Wayne Bonner takes it to the house. Beat the defender on the play. The pass was perfect, and Bonner has another 6 for the Grizzlies.
Wayne Bonner, just 1 touchdown the entire season, has 2 in the national title game.
And that ball was right on the money as he drops it over the receiver. Bonner's concentration. And look at that play. And Bonner will never be caught. There was no one close, no help underneath. Man coverage, and he was there.
Credit the offensive line because Garrison had time. That was not his primary receiver. He had to check off and just wait and keep waiting for Bonner to be open. And the patience paid off, but give credit to the offensive line for giving him time.
And just that quickly, it's 35-13 as the Grizzlies have found the end zone twice in the less than 4 minutes we've played here in the third quarter. We'll be back. Can Snow regroup? We'll find out next. Well, still enjoying himself on the sideline, Wayne Bonner, and why not? He's been in the end zone twice this afternoon, and as you point out, Alema Harrington just once all season before today. Kimball Burton and Regan Buck deep to receive the kick now, coming from Grady Fowler, and that offense that is second in the nation from the Snow Badgers is going to be called on to get into the act in this final 2 quarters because they trail now 35-13. Short kick, little chip shot. Ball's alive, and is it in bounds? No, it's out of bounds. Wow, they almost got the onside kick.
Nice job by Tui Tapo, the tight end slash fullback, going back there and making sure that the ball went out of bounds with him.
Well, Butler just chipping that football into an open area and then trying to run underneath it, and just about had it. But it does give decent field position now to the Snow offense. So you take that gamble, and now the ball's at the 38-yard line, and that's where they'll put it in play. Second offensive series for the Badgers. First one came after they allowed a touchdown. Second one they punted, and then they allowed another long touchdown.
Eastman and company got to go to work right now.
Buck is the motion man, resets on the right side. And on the ground, the running game. Takai runs out of a short tackle and still stays on his feet. Big Swan there. He says, no, it takes more than that to bring me down.
Powerful run by Takai out of Murray High School.
And it's a first down inside Grizzly territory at the 49-yard line. Takai has gone most of the way. Great play action fake. The throw across the middle, it's complete. And a first down reception by Sam Thomas before he's decleated from J.D. Douglas. But that was a nice play, a great ball fake. Froze the linebackers for just a moment. The play action game seems to be working. It's worked for both sides, by the way, because play action has been part of the success on the other side of the ledger.
Nice job right here. Goes to the underneath route. He actually had Kimball up open deeper than this. You see Kimball is way back here, and he could have been open as well. You see Kimball back there, but he goes underneath to the underneath pattern, gets the first down.
At the 27-yard line now, the line of scrimmage. So Snow trying to recover from the shock of giving up 2 touchdowns within the space of 4 minutes here in the second half. Changing play at the line of scrimmage. Now Eastman, short drop. Complete. Kimball Burton wrapped up and pulled down by Chris Campa. A decent pickup on the play, and Snow now deep into the Grizzly territory. You wonder maybe in hindsight at the wisdom of the onside kick, which gave them, the Snow Badgers, the football on the 38-yard line. If you kick away and pin them back deep, but hindsight always being what it is, you certainly can't argue with what's happened with Coach Troy Morrell right now. His team leads 35-13. So the majority of decisions have been the right ones. Eastman to Takai again, running into the defense. The football's fumbled, and it's recovered. Well, for a moment, it was recovered by Butler, and now are they going to rule he was down? Because the ball is in the grasp of the Snow College Badgers. Now, let's see what they do, and I think they're going to call him down.
They're either going to call him down. I think they're going to say the runner was down.
Yeah, I believe that they did too. It was a pretty quick down, but he may very well have been. Let's watch it. Both teams, though, alertly going after the football.
See where the ball comes out.
That's
a fumble right there. And then it's possessed maybe for a half of a second there by Butler. You know, watch the ball is going to come out. We're slowing down right here. The ball is coming out right now. It's going to leave his hands. It gets stripped out right there, and he was not on the ground yet. That would be a fumble.
And Aaron Buhag was the one who got it back. Buhag for the Snow Badgers recovered it. Nevertheless, the ball was apparently ruled down, or the receiver, the ball carrier ruled down the receiver on that play was Kimball Burton. And this crowd wants a flag. They're not going to get it on first down.
Kimball Burton's one of those guys that even though the snow has been cleared off the field, he still finds a snowbank to get into.
The one at the back of the end zone. Again, going back to Buhag's hustle on that play, you got to hand it to big number 66. You get a look at him there. He really did a nice job staying with that play and not giving up on it. Out of Cypress High School in Magna. But it's 2nd and 10. 13-yard line, the line of scrimmage for Eastman and company. And jumping across the line of scrimmage and creating the contact with Swanson Miller. You get that 6'5", 320 going, and
can't stop it.
It's basic principle of physics, isn't it? Bodies in motion, especially when they're big bodies.
Inertia or something like that?
Something like that. Flag goes down.
Great count. You got Eastman. He's got a hard count going, and anticipation by Swanson trying to get in there quickly, and he just misjudges it. And as you mentioned, once you start moving forward, there's no stopping him.
So it brings up a 5-yard gain on that play. And 2nd and 5. Opportunity to make a first down at about the 3-yard line. Eastman would just like to make that a moot point to get him in the end zone. Takai again. Takai is stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Jake Anderson getting in there to make the stop along with Marcus White. And they're going to be stopped short with third down now and about 3.5, 4 yards to go.
If you're Snow College right now, you got to realize you got to take advantage of this opportunity.
Wondering what the footing is like down there. You know, we can see the field more clearly from up above, but there's certainly ice on that field where they've scraped it off. So you wonder if there is any opportunity to get to the edge and maybe catch a crease. Everything has been inside, and probably wisely so. More movement on that defensive line, but no flags. Takai spinning off a tackle, and Takai will be short. He's at the 5-yard line. That's going to leave him about 2 yards short. Kyle Woodall again stopping him. And now the question is, down to touchdowns.
You got to go for it. You got to go for it at this point. You're down 22 points.
3 touchdowns and the 2-point conversion. Field goal does you no good. And it's going to be fourth, and it's going to be probably a long 2, almost 3 yards.
They've had success with play action and going to their tight end. Tui Tupou is lined up to the right side.
Big defensive down here for the Grizzlies. Showing pressure. Buck in motion. Sets. Takai in the middle. Stepping inside a block, and I think the momentum and the push, maybe even from the defensive line, could have gotten him a first down. Woodall was certainly in there. He managed to somehow squeeze past the hole and then turn his body, and it created some forward motion when he got hit. It's going to be very close on that spot, but it looks from up here that they have it.
They'll take an official's timeout and bring the chains out to measure it, but I'm agreeing with you here. They won't even measure it.
No, they're going to give him the first down.
Now with the snow, for the most part, taken off the field, they feel pretty confident about him to give him the first down.
And Takai did that mostly on his own, Alema, because he really didn't have much of anything, was able to shift laterally. The hole that was supposed to be there wasn't. Kind of slid off a would-be tackler and then got some pressure from behind from the defense, and it pushed him forward enough that he got the first down. So first and goal now for the Snow College Badgers. Ball at the 3-yard line. Those wide splits again in that spread offense, the offensive line. Play action fake and the pass, touchdown. Snow College with a touchdown as Sam Thomas, who was the motion man, brings it in. And with the PAT coming, now you're down 2 scores if you can get the conversion. And no thought about going for 2 at this point. You've got to take the 7s as you can get them.
Nice job. Just fake the block, release into the flat, wide open for the touchdown.
Joe Phillips will try and narrow this gap to 15. Regan Buck is the holder. A little bit longer in run this time, and there's the kick. It is up, and it is good, and it's a 15-point margin. So giving up 2 touchdowns in the quarter, they get 1 back to the Snow College Badgers, and they do it with a great play-action fake and a little toss over the top. Sam Thomas pulls it in for 6. Well, Snow College has gotten back into this football game after giving up 2 quick touchdowns in the third quarter. They get 1 back of their own, and they trail by 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. But if you're the Badgers, you got to feel a little bit better about that, Alema Harrington, because your offense finally caught something in sync.
A big play by Takai, picking up the first down, first and goal that set up the touchdown.
Joe Phillips set to kick, deep to receive Andre Jones. And Jones will field at the 15-yard line. Got a little bit of running room to the outside before he's knocked out of bounds at the 29, maybe the 30 by James Freed.
You know, the Badgers have done a nice job on Andre Jones. He averages 24 yards per return on kickoffs. A very effective return. It hasn't taken 1 back for a touchdown so far this season, but they've done a nice job just kind of bottling him up, especially considering the conditions today.
Well, let's see what the defensive unit now for the Badgers can do. Offense got on track a little bit. Now they've got to get a stop. Turnover would be the preferred, obviously the preferred result, but just how about a 3 and out? Give yourself a little bit of confidence, get that offense back on the field. On the other side, though, Bo Johnson struggles for about 2 or 3 yards. And Johnson a little bit slow getting up. See him limping towards the sideline. Thought he grabbed his knee or his leg. Looks like he's moving all right, but got dinged a little bit on that play.
He gets contact right there at the line of scrimmage, and then just gets driven down. Sometimes, you get hit hard, and what happened was he grabbed his ankle quickly because it got rolled on top of the ankle, went underneath him as Stephen Baea fell on top of him.
Randall Bell now is the deep back on that backfield, and he'll get the call. And Bell wrapped up. First man to him was number 9. That was Shane Hunter. Got him by the ankles. They brought him down, short of a first down. He's going to bring up 3rd and call it 3.
Randall Bell, he's built a little bit lower to the ground, 5'9", 210 pounds.
Yeah, that Badger defense facing a 3rd and about 3 right now, and they need a stop. Bottom of your screen, you got a wide out with man coverage, but they'll go to the running back instead, and Bell is going to be short of the first down. Randall Bell stopped short of the first down.
They may have to measure. Here's going to be very close.
He's short,
but I think you're right. I think he's probably just a few inches short.
That's going to bring up 4th down, and what do you do at the 40-yard line, the 39-yard line? You kick the ball away, and you take your 15 points and let your defense do it, and that's exactly what Coach Troy Morrell is going to do. So this defensive unit did the job now for the Badgers, trying to get the crowd into it as Regan Buck stands at his own 20-yard line and set to receive the punt.
Remember, they blocked one at the end of the first half.
Zach Stetler, the punter, almost got to this one. They do get to the kicker, and there's a flag on the play. So this one is going to give them a first down. Buck gets out to the 29, but there's a flag down, and it's going to give a first down by penalty to the Grizzlies. Even if it's only running into the kicker, they just needed a yard. They're going to get at least 5 on the play.
And that is the risk that you run when you come after it. And they would probably, were boosted with some confidence having blocked one in the first half. And going after it this time in the second half and trying to get after it.
Tywan Hubbard is down, by the way, for Butler on one knee at the 30-yard line. There's a look at him. And getting some medical attention.
Foul, roughing the kicker, number 2 on the defense. We got a block in the back on the defense on the return.
Well, Kimball Burton was the one who was charged with roughing the kicker, so it's the full-blown roughing, not just running into.
Take a look. Kimball Burton's just coming straight up the middle.
And that's the way he got one earlier.
They're trying to pick up the up back so that Kimball Burton will have a free run at the kicker. And that's exactly how they blocked it in the first half. But you got to make sure that you're going for the right angle of attack on the football. Otherwise, you will run into the kicker and not get the ball.
So by penalty, it's going to be a first down, and the offense of Butler will stay on the field. And the defensive unit got to be a little bit chagrined because they did a great job for 3 downs. And then special teams. Kick coverage. Gave him the penalty. So they'll come back out and try and do it again as the officials will look for the spot of the football. Here you get a look at number 20, Tywan Hubbard, walking just fine on the sideline. So whatever the problem was seems to have been remedied. But a big break as far as the Butler Community College Grizzlies are concerned. And Snow College with one of those mistakes that you look back on perhaps at the end of the game and say, wow, if only.
That 15-yard penalty will put the Grizzlies into Snow College territory now.
1st and 10 from the 46-yard line of the Badgers. Here comes pressure up the middle from Snow. Line picks it up. Pass complete to the outside. A few yards after the catch, and the ball is fumbled out of bounds by Andre Jones, but not before he has a first down, and Braden Frampton was the man who wrapped him up. And it is a first down. They moved the chains, fumbled the ball, but again, he was out of bounds when the ball was separated from player. And it's a 36-yard line now, the line of scrimmage.
There's a good look at Garrison there. Andre Jones, by the way, the second leading receiver on this team. He finished the regular season with 298 yards and 5 TDs.
Garrison looks to throw. Got man coverage on the outside. A little chicken fighting as a flag goes in. There's a touchdown if it stands up. It was Sam Jacobson that caught the football. Little hand battle going on with Braden Frampton over there, and who was pushing whom is the question, judging by the celebration in the end zone and no official kind of breaking that up. It looks like it may be another touchdown for Butler. They'll talk it over. Well, they're going to call it a touchdown.
Defense, the penalty is declined. Touchdown.
So a touchdown again, and just that quickly, the Grizzlies come right back and score 6.
You see the one-on-one coverage taking place on the outside right here, and Jacobson just trying to get a little separation. Here's the interesting thing about it. The guys have scored touchdown. Wayne Bonner with 2, Jacobson with 1. Both of those guys nowhere near the top of the stats as far as receiving is concerned. And so if you're preparing for this game, you're Snow College, you're wondering, who are these guys?
That kick is up, and it's good. And just that quickly, the lead is now 21 again. Well, it's 41-20 on the scoreboard. It's 42 officially. Now they've put it up. So it's a 22-point margin for the Butler College Grizzlies. Wow. You know, and if you are the Badgers, you look back, you had a defensive stop, you rough the passer, you keep the drive alive, and you give up 7. Just the what-ifs on that play.
You're taking a look at what they're trying to get done.
Well,
another penalty there.
Yeah, it was
declined.
A defensive encroachment that was declined, so the PAT is good. And the ground that you gained with the touchdown for Snow College, you gave up again.
But if you take a look at these two teams per game, it's